Today, by multiple requests, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover the XTS5000, the XTS line, meaning the Astro 25 series, such as the XTS1500, XTS2000, XTS2500, XTS5000, which looks completely different than the other ones, and also the other ones in that series, such as the MTS. I believe it's the MTS 2500, MTS 2000. We're going to go ahead and cover it, but there's a few things I want to go over first. Before I start this video, there is so much stuff that you can do with the XTS line. I need to know what you guys want. So in the description below, I need you to write what you want to learn, whether it be I want to learn non-affiliate scanning, I want to learn how to add talk groups, I want to learn how to put it on a hotspot, I want to learn whatever it is, put it in the description and I'll make a video. This video series could go on for years, literally, off of the functions of the XTS. I mean, we were talking MDC, talk groups, scan lists. It can go on and on. So drop down in the comment which one you want to see or what you want to see. And if you're scared to comment, then go ahead and put a check or like the comment of somebody that you see down there, and I'll create a video, because everybody's been asking for this, but you can't just cover everything there is out there. There's also like things like the TPT hack, which is the talk permit tone, a little when you key up MDC. There's so much stuff to go into. I need you guys to comment down there. We're going to keep it simple today. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to basically just put a channel in for a node and for a repeater. So that way you can get started. So let's go ahead and roll the credit. Okay, before we start, I wanted to get something straight before it led to a problem. So I pulled a bunch of radios, okay? This looks exactly like this one. If you're not paying attention, this and this almost look alike. The problem is this is an XTS5000, okay? This one is an XTS3000. How do I know that? It says right there XTS3000, but you can't go off of that. You have to go off, you have to pull the battery off, which you press this right here, the battery release, you lift it off, and you have to look at this number that's back here. And I'm going to probably go through that after this is over. But what my point is be careful if you buy these off of eBay, because you don't know exactly what you're getting. Because they don't just look like that, they look like this, which is what's called a Model 1. A Model 1 just has the speaker, no touchpad, no display. So this is a Model 1, okay? So just make sure you don't get an XTS3000, because that falls under the Astro family, which is a completely different generation. So they look the same, but they're not the same, okay? Now, when we're dealing with the 5000, I'm just going to go over this. I pulled a couple of this. 5000s can come in yellow. Notice the keypad. It doesn't have a full keypad here, right? Okay. So they usually call this a Model 1.5. When it's a Model 1, that means that, and this is another Model 1.5, that means it has the keypad and it has a display. Okay, it has like a little arrow keys and its little soft buttons right here. Okay, this is a Model 3. A Model 3 is a display, push buttons, the scrolling wheel, and then a keypad at the bottom for, if you need to do DTMF or enter characters in, like front panel programming. Okay, so this is what an XTS 2000 Model 1 can look like. So this is what I'm going to be programming. I believe this one right here. I'm going to do this 1.5, and I'm sure there's people out there that are going to disagree with me. Let me show you a couple things while I have this up. I'm going to put the battery on this. Okay, so some people, they say, oh, you can't have front panel programming with an XTS without a keypad? Well, see that FPP right there? You heard that chirp? That's the chirp that's called a TPT. That's why everybody's been asking me how to do that. I can show you how to do that. And once again, if I go to front panel programming, it's going to ask for password. I can view my zone, view this. There's my TX. I can change it. And people are going to say, oh, but you can't change it. Let me turn this light on. I can hit this edit key right here. I can hit this I can hit this right arrow. And see how that's 710, 720, 725? I can scroll through. So you can program front panel programming without having a Model 3. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out the way. But the TPT tone is this. It's the talk permit tone. It's famous. I'm sure everybody's heard that, and I'm sure somebody's going to reply in the comments saying they want to see it. This is the TPT tone. Oh, and that was my MDC. Let me go to here. So if you want that, put that in the comment, TPT. Just put TPT down there in the comments. But I just wanted to go over that. So these radios right here, including this one, all get programmed by the same programming cable, which I pulled a couple of cables. So you can go to that Blue Max 49ers on eBay and you can get a USB. Okay, and that's another thing too while I'm thinking about it. This might look like it takes the same cable. These ports look the same, but they're not. And people are going to argue with me in the comments, but they're wrong. I always prove them wrong anyway. These are pinned completely different. They look the same, but they are pinned completely different. Okay? This is the one I prefer. Not that I like Blue Max. I've seen a couple radios fried on them, so I'm kind of scared and weary of the cables. I know people love them. Hey, it's your prerogative. This is the one I like to use for everything. This one you can get off of Amazon for $15. It goes into your port, which I know a lot of new computers don't have this port anymore, the DB9 port. But to insert it, to program it, all you do is, and see, this is a 3000. You include it there, put it there, and at the top, you clip that on. And see, it'll fit, but it's not going to program it. The other thing about the 3000 is that in order to program these, and I know once again, there's going to be people in the description saying different things. You're going to need Windows XP 32-bit in order to program these because they fall in a different class. They're like the Sabres and the XTS3000 fall in the same family, the Astro family. But see, same thing. The XTS5000, hook it on the bottom, connect it to the top, and you're ready to read. And we'll do, just for the continuity's sake, here's the one we're going to be programming today. Notch it in there, put it up here. So make sure before you get this data cable that it says for the XTS5000. Just because it says XTS3000 doesn't mean that it fits. It has to be a 5000 cable. Anyway, we're going to move on. The question I get with these is, what does the R mean? The R means that it's intrinsically safe, meaning that you can take it into a plant or a nuclear power plant or, stuff like keep it from exploding and getting stuff into here. It can be dropped in water a little bit better. It's more ruggedized. But that's generally what, and they do come in a Model 1. They have an R behind it. So there's a little rubber gasket when you pull them apart that's in here. Other than that, I really don't see much of a difference. If you're going to break them, usually the R is not going to save you. But it's more, it'll keep that radio from exploding on you. The first question I normally get asked is, how do I know what I'm getting? Which I always was amazed at how when I didn't know anything before running a Motorola shop, how people at a ham fest could just pick up a radio and say, hey, this is a UHF band. Hey, this is a 900 megahertz. So basically, when you pull that back cover off, what you want to do is look for these two numbers right here. Okay, these go over the series. Like 46 will be XTS5000. Remember the XTS2500, MT1500, PR1500. So after these numbers, you look at this. This is the main one right here. It'll come down and it'll tell you the frequency band. So generally, what you're going to have is J, which is 136 to 162 megahertz VHF, K, 146 to 178. Okay. Now here's where it gets tricky, which I know a lot of people in here are GMRS, one in GMRS radios. And yes, you can go in there and you can kind of reband it. And I can't get into all that on this video. But generally for UHF, you want Q, R, and S. Okay. So Q is going to cover 403 to 437. So yeah, you're not very good with that one. R, it's going to cover 438 to 482. This is the golden one right here. This is what you want, because you can get 440, which is going to be P25. Like if you're a ham person, it's going to have 462 and 467, which is going to cover your GMRS towers, and your simplex GMRS and your FRS frequencies right there. You can also get an S, which is high. So what you're looking for is that R. You can always, there's a way to get it, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it because you can look it up easily on here. Whether you get like something like this, it can go up a little bit. You know, you can get this to 460 or what have you. You know, there's a way to go in there and hex edit it, but I can't go into that. Also, you got to be careful. Usually you use, that's going to be 700-800 megahertz. So that's going to be your law enforcement, things like that. And the other thing is the W, which is going to be 900 megahertz. So this does cover ham band, as I believe it's 902 to 912 or something like that. So if you're looking for 900 megahertz, you want that third letter up here to be a W. Okay. So, and what we're going to do on this video, I kind of explained a lot of this because I didn't see a lot of videos covering this kind of stuff. And I'm going through this so people understand what they're buying before they go and buy a brick off of eBay. Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead, hook the radio up, read from it, and I'll show you how to put a conventional channel in. We're going to keep it easy, and like I said, drop down in the comments what you want to see in the future videos. And if you're scared to comment, go ahead and throw a like on somebody else's comments so I know what to cover next. But this thing goes deep, like I said earlier. There's about a billion different things that you can do covering this topic on the XTS series. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and open up your CPS, and then you're going to turn your radio on and connect the cable. Okay, when you're reading the radio, it's very important that you don't mess with that cable when it's in the middle of reading. You come up here to File, Read Device. It's going to ask you for what port you're on. You might have to go into Device Manager to find out what port it's on, but usually gives you a few choices. Click OK. You can hear the radio beep like that. Hopefully y'all heard it. And then it's going to read the code plug. There you go. Okay, so this is open. So in here, I call this a tree of fun. Right here, you see radio information. And this will tell you information about this radio. This is one that I got off of eBay. But this is the big thing right here. You want to go to feature set, and it'll show you everything that's in here. Some people will have an analog only. See, like this one came with front panel programming. You can see it has a bunch of different features in there. But all this is different. And, you know, if you need anything, go to your closest Motorola independent dealer, because this is at the end of life, the XTS series. But, you know, it tells you everything, model number. This is obviously somebody didn't know what they were doing. But anyway, trying to find this on the screen. Okay. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go and I'm going to kind of go through some of this stuff. So radio wide. So through here, out of range, you want display. If not, it's going to be beeping all the time. Kind of try to keep with what I have here. Last selected zone per channel enable means that, say you're on channel 2 and you turn it off and you turn it back on, it will come back on channel 2. Whereas every time you power up, and right here it'll also say on the zone in channel 2. So these two kind of go together. Right here, you can type something to show up on screen. I like to put a phone number in there, area code and number, in case somebody finds a radio. Inside here, channel delay, I would put this one 00, usually defaulted it at 02. That's when you key up and it takes a few seconds before it actually like transmits. Like I said, emergency display, I like to display only. You don't want a whole lot of beeping going on. Alert tones. Now this is all up to you. I like this mute tone, so when you hit mute on the menu, you can either have disabled keypad tones or all tones. I like to be quiet altogether. This generally lets you know your battery's getting low. Keep it there. Timeout timers. Okay, so this is a big one. So I usually make one infinite, which means that usually the unsaid rule is you don't want to talk more than 3 minutes. So, 120, 300, you want to put in there. I'm keeping it at infinite. So basically when you key up, however many seconds you have here, and you'll see this in a minute, I'm going to come back to this, but however many seconds you have in here, that's how long you can stay keyed up till it'll stop being keyed up. And the big thing about that is, say, for instance, I know it's kind of hard to press the button here, but say you had it in your truck and it flew over and it keyed up a repeater and you had a live mic while you were driving. Basically, you could burn people's repeaters up, you could burn your radio up, plus you could say something in that car that you don't want everybody to hear. Home mode, that if when you start up where you want it to pop up, kind of goes off of the first thing. You got to kind of play with it. They got a lot of stuff in here that's repetitive. I do not play with this. I leave this where it is because I have seen radio boards get fried playing in there. I leave that unchecked, so you can check that if you want to. It kind of does a little bit more. It lets it do a little more, but it'll let you know when you're right. Treble control, I don't play in there, and we'll get out of there. So you can hit the close button. Next, you want to go to your controls, so your buttons right here. So you got two sides. You got your conventional, which means your analog channels. Trunking, you're generally not going to play with unless you're using this for non-affiliate scanning or you're using it for a PD or something like that. What I like to do is turn the top button, which is the orange button. I like to use that as a light. You can come down and use all these other things. I generally like to make my button 1 scan, my button 2. You have a ton of different things you can choose from. Zone up, zone down. And monitor, of course, would be, you could press the button and say somebody was keyed up. You could hear traffic going, without the squelch on. Switches. Okay. So the rotary controls the dial at the top of the radio, the second knob. And that's going to basically, you can choose, zone or channel select. Most people keep it on channel select. So on the top of that radio, you have a 3 concentric switch, which is, it shows an A, a B, and a C. So you can make each one of these whatever you want. You can make like B, you can make it scan, you can make TX low power, your choice. And also they have another good one, scan list program, if you want to do a scan list. That's pretty important too. Display and menu. Okay, so this deals with the text size, and this is the scroll rate. I don't play with this stuff. I leave it the way it is, but it shows, like, say you got a long word, it'll scroll it across the screen. Menu items. This is where you add stuff that you're going to be able to see. The top part is conventional. The bottom part is going to be trunking. So generally, you want to add, you got your mute, your front panel program, battery. Usually want to add a zone in there. See how you click this and it goes over there. You might add a program, view, power, so you can go high, low. Nuisance delete in UIS, that's what that is, in case you have somebody that's kind of going crazy. And look, after you add this, so this is how it's going to show up on the screen. So say you wanted zone to be where mute is, you can come over here and move this up, and see that'll show up on the screen. So each screen is going to show 3 things. So then you're going to have to see the next set of things, you have to scroll over with the arrow key. So and there you go with, if you have a Model 1 without a keypad, that means you're only going to be able to use these 3 things here. You know, you're not going to be able to use anything else. Okay, so this, like I said, this is Get Trunking, and if y'all want to see anything with that, drop some comments down there. Okay, so conventional is where we're going to live. This is, and when you think of conventional, think analog. Okay, conventional personality. Now, a lot of people's isn't going to be like this. You're not going to have a whole pile of this, but this, I guess this code plug or whoever sent me this radio has a bunch of different options. I think this is the fire accountability, but you need to have at least one conventional personality, which we can go through that right now. We're going to do 2 channels. Let's do 2 personalities. So I'm going to do, first personality is going to be just for a node, which has 1 frequency, and the second one we'll do a repeater. Okay, so we'll go into conventional personality 1 right here. We want to do non-Astro. This is usually set on 6 by default. I change it to 1 because I like to be able to hear when somebody's breaking in. I've never had a problem. Now here's what I was telling you to remember. See how this, if I change this to 1, remember 2 is 30 seconds. So that's where that comes into play right here. Signaling, this is MDC. We can get in that with a video. I generally check that right there, but I check all this here. Okay, so down here at the bottom of the program, you'll see there's a bunch of different symbols right here. So if you wanted to go to the next one, you could hit this arrow right here. See how I just went to 2 at 240? I have 240 personalities. So I can actually go here and say you're doing a receive on this one. You can actually use these 2 arrows. So I'm in 1. So say this one was on 2, just to show people. So if I go to the next personality, see now I'm on personality 2 of 240. So if I go see 2 at 240 down here at the bottom, so if I scroll and press this button, it goes to the first one. See, you can do this, scroll here, drop it here, then check on the next thing, change this, and hit the back, change it here. You get what I'm saying? So you can do 2 personalities, but that's generally all you need to do. You need to make sure that your receive is non-Astro, your TX is non-Astro. Okay, moving forward. And this is the tree of fun, in case you hear me refer to it as that. All right, so now we need to actually go ahead and we need to give those channels a home. So we're going to come all the way down here. Don't ask me why it's all the way at the bottom, but zone channel assignment. Click that open and click the first one. Now this is what your zone is going to be called. Think of this as a zone as, okay, like I can have 1 zone for home. So the channels that are in that zone mean that when I'm home, I don't care about the repeater that's 30 miles away. I don't care about certain things. I only care about what's in my house. So that would be a zone. And you can usually, you know, change it to 2 or 3 letters right here. But it's kind of hard to, if you mess with this, your text size gets messed up. So I like to just keep zone 1 or whatever. But another example of a zone would be, say I wanted one for the repeaters, the UHF repeaters. You could make zone 2 UHF repeaters. So when you're driving, you could just change that, you know, the A, B switch we were talking about. You could go to the zone 2 and you could actually be, you know, seeing the channels associated with that repeater. But we're going to leave it where it is because we're going to keep things simple today. And it looks like I already have 1 in here. So what you want to do first is click in here. So we're on personality 1. See how it's got personality 1? So you can drop this down. Probably not in this one. It's going to let me. Yeah, see, this is a specialized thing, but you can drop this down and change this to 1 and things like that in normal radio. So you can have one personality for everything. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a simplex GMRS. So type a name in. Be mindful of it if it turns red after you hit enter. This is what it's going to show on your alpha tag. Okay. So next thing you do is you want to type in your receive frequency. My receive frequency is going to be a simplex channel. We're going to do 462.725, right? Okay. So over here, and this is your PL. So you want to drop this down, and you're going to have, you want a PL. So if you squelch, they call it. They also have a drop down. It'll also be CSQ. What CSQ means is that it has no PL tone and no DPL. That's also an option to DPL. But most of the time, if you're dealing with ham radio and regular radio, it's going to be just PL. So the PL on a receive is this, 156.7. You can drop that down and they'll have a bunch of things. I know you can't see it because of the screen sharing software. Here's where you're going to put your transmit frequency in, and then you transmit PL. So sometimes you have, say you have well, let's do that on a repeater. Okay, so we'll do this right here. This is a repeater. So it's 462.6000. So everybody knows that the receive is 462.6000 on GMRS, and the transmit is 467. So the transmit's the higher number, 467. So my receive is 462.6000. I'm wanted PL. I'm at 167.9. And let's do this one. Let's do 625 so I can do it with you. I'll do one with you. So I know that's there. And then we're going to change this. You can't see the box, but it's showing up over here. We're going to say 114.8. So 462.62500. Now, some people have GMRS towers and they don't have a squelch on it. In that case, you're going to come here and change this to CSQ. That's what that means. Okay, then coming down here, this is going to be your transmit. So in GMRS, we know that 467 is going to be your transmit. Okay, and then my PL, and I want to change it to 114.8, which you can't see this because my software is jacked up. 114.8, and there you go. Okay. So now, let me go over this one last thing, try to get the most out of this video. So we have 2 channels in there. Say we wanted to make a scan list. So we click scan. I'm sorry, that's why I call this a tree of fun. Things are all over the place. It is not easy. I make it look easy because I do so many of this, but don't get overwhelmed. Pause the video and go back if you have to. Scan list. All right, so when you come in here, you can have a number of scan lists, but we're going to stick to scan list 1. Okay, so come in here. We know we want a conventional scan list. Okay, put this on fixed, put this on talkback. Okay, next go to this list tab up here at the top. Okay, for my scan list, first thing I want to do is zone 1, and we wanted channel 1, which see, it puts that channel that was in there. Now let me see. You can close out of it, and I forgot what channel. Okay, so we did this one here, Lacombe. So this is number 11, right? So we're going to close this out. We're going to come to scan list, go to list again. We're still in the same zone, zone 1, because we hadn't made any. And I think that was, well, let's see, what was it, 12? No, 12, I don't know what the heck that was. 11, right there, 11. So see how it put the text in there? So that's how you do a scan list, okay? So when you hit scan, it's going to automatically scan those channels inside that scan list, okay? I hope this helped you guys, and like I said, drop down there in the comment if you want to see something specific with the XTS series. I can also do the XTS3000 series, the Astro series. I can try to hook a screen recorder up to the Windows 32-bit, and we can do it from there. But if you have any questions, like I said, drop them down there. Let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll be happy to do a video. Anyway, this is KJ5HLO, Hotspot Guy, Kirby. I'm out.